Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estela.
And welcome to
Cafecito.
And Crime. Hello, everyone. We hope everyone's having a wonderful day. How are you doing today, señorita?
I feel like me acaba de picar un mosquito. Like right now, as soon as I sat down.
Like right now.
Like
Te estaba
right now.
esperando el mosquito.
Yeah.
Que llegaras tú aquí.
Now I got to scratch. Hold on.
No, I felt that way earlier, pero I didn't have a mosquito. It was a dry patch.
Yeah, well.
Mosquitoes are, we don't even want to talk about that right now.
No.
They're at
We already
level.
talked about it last week, and they bite through your clothes.
Yeah.
And they're big.
They're triceratops. No, not triceratops. ¿Cómo te dije que eran? No me acuerdo. Pero
Pterodactyls.
Pterodactyls, bitch.
Yeah.
Son unos pinches pterodactyls. Y las moscas, güey. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Everywhere.
Girl, it's hot outside.
It's hot outside.
It's humid. Oh, like I was telling Barb right now. I was like, look, it's 86 because it's saying that what did I say? It's like
It feels like 86.
It's 87,
but it feels like 86 because
of the wind.
The wind.
That's what the weather app told me. I was like, what wind? First of all, it's humidity.
I didn't feel no wind, bitch.
There is no
nothing.
wind. The wind has been sucked up by the humidity.
Yeah. Anyway, how are you doing today besides you being bit by the mosquito?
I'm good. I have my coffee.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. I have my coffee too. Today I got a little different one today. It's se llama the Tilly. Y tiene coconut syrup and vanilla syrup.
Mine has vanilla, salted caramel, decaf espresso latte.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite, the one Estella's drinking. But today I wanted to spice it up. You know, I was feeling a little spicy. And so that's what we did. But yes, let me go ahead and let you guys know that today we are going to California.
Oh, good.
We're going to California. I wish I was going to California, but I wonder if I don't think that they're hot right now in the summer.
They're never hot.
But I think that recently they had like with global warming and stuff.
No, sí, pero en la noche it feels fine.
It feels fine, yeah. But we're going to California to Chowchilla,
Okay.
California to be exact. So if you would like to come to California, Chowchilla, California, go ahead and grab your cafecitos
Or whatever else you're drinking.
and let's get started. Now, Chowchilla is very, very, very small. It's in the like southern part of closer to the middle part of California, like yendo como a San Francisco area. And the fun, random, interesting facts about Chowchilla is that they have ultra wide roads. So the roads were made ultra wide because back in the day, back in whenever they needed them to be, Robertson Boulevard was purposely designed to be exactly 100 feet wide.
Oh my God.
So a full term of a team of horses and a wagon could turn completely around without backing up.
Wow.
Just to make a U
Putting
right
the
there.
animals first.
Always.
As they should.
As they should.
Speaking of horses, did you see that one of the carriage rides horses just died in New York? Like it collapsed.
The carriage ride what?
The carriage. You know how there are horses that, in New York, you can take like a carriage ride?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, there was a horse that collapsed and he died.
Oh, why? He was tired.
Yes, overworked.
They
and
overworked
stuff.
them.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God,
pobrecito.
my heart.
Yeah.
I think that I saw that today or yesterday, one of those. But yeah.
I was telling Estela que the thing that kills me the most is whenever, we live in Texas. And so a lot of the people are carrying like their horses and their cattle in the back of their trucks. So then there was this couple and we were picking up tacos. And so they had their camioncito and it was so hot outside. And I knew that they were inside of this aluminum and I felt so bad for the horses.
Yeah.
And I know probably they're animals,
fine.
but they're fine.
Yeah.
Pero como quiera, my heart was like, oh my God, I wanted to cry, girl.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes. And then the other thing that I have, the second
Fun, random,
interesting fact is that the first custom grain elevator in all of California.
Excuse me?
A grain elevator. So a grain elevator is used to move grain
Okay.
from one place to another.
I was wondering because I know
Yes.
you saw my face. I was like, a grain? Is the elevator made of grain?
No.
No.
It's for the movement of grains.
Okay.
And it was built in Chowchilla in 1916.
16?
1-6.
Okay.
By Cully and Browning Elevator Company. The elevator was located approximately where the California corn growers facilities are today at 62 South Front Street. I don't know what that makes any sense, but anyway, it is reported that the elevator met its demise from fire.
Oh.
Se quemó, güey.
Pobrecito. But it got its job done for as long as it could.
I mean, it did the best it could. And it was a grain elevator.
I didn't know there were grain elevators, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's easier now.
It's easier now. Yeah. I'm sure that they evolved after that one burned down.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, so like I told you before, Chowchilla was a very small town, so small that you can drive through the whole downtown area in 30 seconds.
Oh.
Like it's very small.
Yeah.
And everybody was very, very close there. I mean, we've heard this before.
Everybody knows each other.
Everybody knows each other. No one will lock their doors. There was nothing to be scared of.
Yeah.
I think at that moment, the kids didn't know what being scared of something was because there was no reason for them to, right? So, I mean, I wouldn't say that they didn't know what they just had no fear, basically.
At least they knew that where they lived, they had nothing to worry about.
Exactly. So on a hot summer day of July 15th of 1976, a bus driver by the name of Edward Ray, but I'm going to call him Ed because that's what they called him, was driving some 26 kids, children,
en un
bus home from a swimming trip in Chowchilla.
Okay.
So they were driving to their homes. They were not in Chowchilla, but the swimming pool was.
Okay.
So they were in summer school at the Dairyland Elementary School, but they had taken a small trip to cool down at the community pool.
Okay.
So Ed, like everyone, knew him. Like I said, he was quiet and strong, and everybody respected him as Mr. Ed. And he was married and had 2 children of his own. He had the windows down. All the kids were tired from the pool. Some of them were kind of like dozing off, but they were happy to be going home because it was hot. So after dropping off the first 2 kids is when the horror began. It was around 4 p.m. Ed saw a white van that was parked and at a stop sign, but not moving. So Ed thought, and he even said, like, what the heck? What is this?
Right.
While trying to go around the white van, Ed believed that the van needed some help. So he kind of like se puso like apart to it.
Yeah.
And when he was just looking to see if they needed any help. Whenever he was doing that, all of a sudden, a man comes from behind the van, and he had a gun and a stocking over his face or over his head. And he told Ed, open the door. Now, Ed was scared for the kid's safety.
Right.
So he asked, what's going on?
Yeah.
And he opened the door. Now, the man is inside of the bus at this point, and he tells Ed, to shut up and to move behind. So he moved him from the driver's seat. One of the kids said that was towards over the front. He told the guy, hey, if you don't get me home soon, my dad will be on you like stink on skunk. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, that just shows you that the kids were like,
hey, I can't believe going on? Yeah, like, I don't care what's going on. I need to get home.
I need to get home because my dad's going to get pissed.
Yeah, and he's going to get pissed at you.
You're going to get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So they just didn't know. And they were not afraid, right? Because they're like, bro, what are you doing on here with this mask on? Like, what the fuck?
We're tired.
We
want to go home.
We went to the pool, dude. Like, fuck off. So they were just being kids, and they were just saying what was on their mind. So moments later, the man did get on the bus. Another man got on the bus as well with the stocking over his head. And he had a sawed-off double-barrel shotgun.
First of all, what do you want with the school bus?
We're about to get into that. So when the kids saw the shotgun, a lot of the kids were like, "Oh shit! Like this is real." Like that's when they were like,
yeah. Then they were scared.
Then they were scared.
They were like, "Oh shit!"
So they knew that they weren't safe. So one of the masked men got into the driver's seat of the bus and started driving with the children and Ed. Now realizing what was happening, Ed started to tell the kids to just keep calm and to just follow the instructions of the whatever they're asking. Yeah. And he was just telling them it's going to be okay. Pero he was so scared that he started raising his voice, and some of the kids were like, he never talked to us like that.
Right.
Pero I guess that in su propio like scaredness, he was just like raising his voice. He didn't realize it. But that also told the kids, hey, this is an emergency. Get your shit together.
Right. Pobrecitos.
I know. So the bus is now going off-road. and the stocking masked men are driving the bus into a grove of bamboo and a dry riverbed at the Barbinda Slough. So this right here is a area where usually it has water.
Okay.
Pero right now, during this summer, it was in drought. So there was nothing in there. Estaba seco. Nada más había bamboo y como que bastantes plantas largas. Like it was just like a tall grassy area. Even though all the brush and the trees were there was another van parked there. And it was a green van.
Okay.
So now it's the bus, a green van, and a white van.
So the white van, somebody else drove it?
Yes.
Okay.
So now at this point, they were standing at the door with guns and they told the kids to jump from the bus to the van because they didn't want them to leave any footprints on the floor.
How do you jump?
So pusieron la de atrás. They backed up the van.
Oh, I see.
And so he was telling them to jump on from there.
Yeah.
So they were standing there with guns in hand. And the kids were just like jumping, pero pues no, they didn't even, I mean, I can just imagine like no saben ni qué pedo.
Yeah. I was going to, do you know how old they were?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. So one of the girls was stopped before jumping to the green van, and she said that she had the gun like on her stomach.
Oh, shit.
And so then she tells the masked man, I was doing what you said.
Oh.
Y entonces she said he just stood there and pointed the gun into her stomach. And then whenever he let her go, it was because she was stopping her to get so they also put the next van, which is the white one, and then they loaded half of the kids in one van.
Oh, so that's why to stop her from going into that one.
So Ed was actually part of the last group, and he was put into the white van.
Okay.
Now, here's the deal. They loaded the kids up in there, and once they closed the door, pitch black.
In the vans?
In the vans.
Okay.
No se miraba nada. There was nothing. Little did they know that the vans had been modified. So the windows had been painted, and there was wood panelings installed. So it was kind of like, you know how they have some vans que son para como people that are going to jail?
Yeah.
And so they have wood paneling y luego le tapan todo para que no se vea para adentro, or they'll put bars and stuff like that. So this is kind of what they had done. And so they had installed this, and no one can see in or out.
Okay.
It was pitch black. Around this time, the children's parents started to make it home and realized that the kids had not made it home. You know, one of the parents was like, I got home and there was no peanut butter everywhere. There was no kids fighting. She was like, they weren't
quiet,
home. Yeah. After a few hours had passed, the police and some parents started to retrace the school bus's route, thinking maybe they got lost or something happened.
Or they had like car trouble or something.
Yeah, but going through dozens of roads and trying to find something, there's nothing.
And it's crazy because if a bus is missing, like you can see a bus, you know, it's not something easy to hide.
Bus.
I know what I'm saying. Like, how do you not see a
and
whole
it's yellow.
I know.
With 26 kids in it.
Yeah.
Like, this is not like a small little bitty ass bus.
Yeah, it's not like when a buggy or something, you know?
So there was no trail of the 26 children, I'm going to say that again. There was no trail of the 26 children ranging in ages from 5 to 14.
Oh,
so the smallest one was 5 and the oldest one was 14, and the bus driver, Ed. Now, I heard somewhere that Ed was born in 21. So if it was 76... I don't know how old he was.
He was like in his 50s.
Yeah, in his 50s. Pero he looked older than now we would look in our 50s. You know how people back then looked?
Well, you know how high school kids in the 90s and 80s looked like they had a mortgage and a family?
Yeah, like they had 3 kids and
shit.
No que
and they were like 17.
Divorced and shit.
And they were like 17.
And they were like, oh, I'm 16. Oh, shit. Just before sunset, they found that there was people that were kind of circling the area, and they were able to find the bus finally. And the bus was about 7 miles outside of Chowchilla. Okay. So initially, you remember the guy had driven the van away, or the truck away. Que le dijo a él que se fue para atrás. It was 7 miles that he drove. Now, the Madera County Sheriff, Ed Bates, another Ed, but this is the sheriff. The shit. He was he rushed to find that where the bus was at, and it was hid under like bushes. That's when he's like, okay, so they were trying to make sure that we did not look around that area, or why did they do that, right?
They try to hide it as best as they could.
Obviously. So they were able to tell that some of the tracks of another vehicle had backed up into the bus door and loaded the children. Now, Sheriff Bates was ready to find the victims. He's like, okay, we have to find, and who would take 26 children? Like, once again, why would anybody do that?
Was it 26 or was it 24? Because you said they had dropped off 2, right?
No, it was 26 after they had dropped them off.
Okay.
And then Ed.
So 27 personas.
Exactly. So then whenever Sheriff Bates was ready to find them, he called the governor. He's like, hey, this is not okay. We need assistance.
Help. Yeah.
So he told the governor that he had a mass kidnapping case and that he could not work the case alone. Sheriff Bates had all the parents assembled at the fire station. But now all the parents are like, okay, where are they? Are they okay?
Everybody's
Whatever.
panicked.
Everybody's panicked. The whole town, bitch, because everybody's child it was practically on that bus.
Yeah.
And so in the fire station, and each and every one of them were waiting for answers.
And if, like, it's 26 children, so that times two, let's say that each kid had two parents. Imagine, like, cuánta gente no se juntó.
Los abuelitos y la tía and shit, like everybody.
Shit.
So he did communicate that he contacted FBI, and parents did see that the next thing that happened was that 30 FBI agents showed up.
And it's crazy right now that you said it. I don't think I had ever heard of a mass kidnapping.
This is the first one and the biggest one in the United States history.
Yeah. I never thought about it. That's what it was, and it's true. Holy shit.
Yeah. So he said, so at this point, the 30 FBI agents show up to help the investigation. While the investigation is underway, the children are still in the pitch black couple of vans. Like
the white van and
the
the
white
green
van
van.
and the green van.
Okay.
Now, they couldn't even see in front of them.
Oh.
So the kids, some of them, they were like, we started feeling like we were choking, like we couldn't breathe because it's so pitch black.
They probably got anxious and scared.
No, by this time it's already probably like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. So it's already dark outside. And then it's dark inside. And then not knowing
where you're going
or what's
they're
going
to
on.
harm you guys or...
Exactly. So the children would bang to the door por donde iba el driver y le decía, please let us out, please let us out. And then the guys would just shut up. And so then sit back down or whatever. And they would just calm down and just sit back down in the pitch black. But some of them were starting to fall asleep and kind of like doze off and then wake up and fall asleep again. Y luego when they would fall asleep and wake up, they would cry because they didn't know, once again, the whole thing. They drove to what seemed like was hours, and the children started to console each other because they were so afraid.
Especially, I'm sure, like the little kids were being consoled by like the older kids.
Yes. So some of the smaller kids would just cry, and the older kids would just tell them that it was going to be okay, that they needed to be strong. They noticed that the van started to slow down, and they also noticed it driving on some even roads. So like they could tell uneven, ya como que iba batallando la van. And then they came to a complete stop after they were in the van for 12 hours.
Holy shit.
12 hours in the van.
In the dark.
In the dark. Complete dark.
Oh.
And so it's like you're going to Mexico, bitch.
Yeah.
And so when they stopped, the masked men took, or I'm want to call them kidnappers now because we know now that that's what they are. They are. The kidnappers took Ed first. And Ed said,
they took him out of the van.
Out of the van first. And they said que it was dark when wherever they were at, it was dark.
De todos modos, it was dark.
Entonces dice que when Ed said that when they took him out, they told him what his name was, and he told them. And then they told him to take off his pants and his boots.
Okay.
And so then after that, he said that they told him they would close the door immediately. So the kids couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
So then when they didn't know what happened to Ed. So they just kept opening doors and taking a child out. Mm-hmm. So the kids were like, we didn't know where we were going.
Yeah, what was going on?
Yeah,
like, what
or where would
doing?
they end up after they were getting taken out. But they did open the door, and then they would take out another kid and take out like that. And so then they would close the door behind them. They could not see, like I said, where they were taking them or no idea if that was it. Were they going to die before that? Or, So one of the girls said that she tried to sit all the way to the back. Maybe they would miss her.
Right, because it was so dark.
Because it was so dark. But she's like, they knew who they had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they counted too, so.
I'm sure. And so then the last child to be taken from the first van was Jody Hoffman. And she said that they had a flashing light shining in her face and one shining in their face. Y que she was asked, what's your name? Mm-hmm. And that she was being smart because she was like, I was tired. I'm
scared,
pissed. And she said that she told them, pudding tang. Ask me again and I'll tell you the same. So apparently this is a song from back in the 70s that they would say pudding tang, ask me twice or something. I don't know. Kind of like me preguntas, yo te digo. I don't know, pero that's what she said. So then they told her, if you didn't give me your name, then you're never going to see your mom and dad again.
Oh, shit.
So then she was like, okay. Ya les dio. Ya estaba marancita, ya tenía 10.
Yeah.
And so then she said...
She's still a baby.
Yeah, so then that's like my son. Well, my son's already older than that.
11.
11. So then they took her little, like her belongings, su little purse, lo que traían las manos, you know. And that once again, they told her, I don't know if they told them to take off all their clothes or some of them to take off like their shirt or their pants or something. So now she said that she was led and told to go down a hole. And so then she's like...
A hole?
A hole. There was nothing but a hole. And they told her, go in there. And so then she said, well, she didn't know what to do. And they're pointing the gun at her. So she walks over there. And in the hole, there was some stairs, some like ladder. And she said that ladder led to a truck trailer that was under the ladder. So it was buried underground.
What the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm. It was buried underground, and when she finally made it through, it led her to Mr. Ed and the rest of the children.
Oh.
So everybody was put in this hole.
But you said that this was just the first van, right? That she was the last girl of the first van.
That's correct.
Okay.
So everybody from the van was already in there. So she said she ran over to them. And she said there was a table set up in the far. They had water, tubs of water. They had mattresses, cereal, bread, and peanut butter on them. And they made holes in some boxes so that they could use as restrooms. And she said that they did hear like some wheels that were turning. So they think that there was ventilation, or they tried to put ventilation. But for sure, they were like...
They're underground.
Yeah, 10 feet down for sure. Underground.
Oh my God, what the fuck?
So then meanwhile, there is still a whole other van of children that is coming along. So the same thing happened to them. They started taking one at a time. So al último quedó the 14-year-old, which is the oldest.
Yeah.
And his name is Michael Marshall. And he
I
said...
you're going to say Michael Myers.
Bitch. Could have been.
No.
So he is the youngest. He was with the youngest of the children, the 5-year-old. And it was a little girl. And she said that it was him and the little girl left. And the kidnappers did the same thing one by one. But he said, I couldn't bear the fact that I was going to give them
the little girl. Yeah.
Me not knowing if she was going to die or not.
Yeah.
So then he said, I moved her. I practically tore her off of me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going first.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, at least if I was going to die, I was going to die, and I wouldn't know if she was going to die or not.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, for a 14-year-old to think this way.
Yeah, I know.
Because my daughter would be like, I don't give a fuck who I ain't. You know what I mean? A 14-year-old? Mm-mm. But he was thinking that way. Anyway, so he said he let go of her hands, and then, he then realized that the rest of the kids he also was told to go in the hole.
So everybody was in the same hole.
Everybody was in the same hole. And not long after, gracias a Dios, Monica, which is the name of the little girl, the 5-year-old, was also put in there. Yeah, was the last one.
Okay.
They said that after the last child was put in the hole, the kidnappers lifted the ladder, and then they threw a roll of toilet paper at them. One roll, and said, we'll be back for you.
Okay.
And then they used a manhole because they could hear to cover the entrance. And then they were like, we could hear them pouring. We don't know what, like in their mind, what it was, but it was material. It was sand. It was like
dirt,
whatever. So it was being thrown over the opening.
Yeah.
So they were getting buried alive, Estela.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
They were getting buried alive.
This is the strangest shit I've ever heard.
And mind you, it was about 12 feet that they were getting buried into.
Deep into the ground.
So Michael and Ed, they were like, okay, immediately, because they're the older ones, they were like, let's find somewhere. So they started looking at corners and stuff like that, a ver si había un lugar donde se podían tratar de, open or whatever. And they tried to go and maybe push the man cover, but it was impossible. It was useless. The cover was too heavy and they couldn't break through. So Ed told the children that they needed to try to rest up, because he was like, well, I mean, the kids were like crying and tired y todo. So he said that even Michael said that all of a sudden it was silent, y luego de repente all the babies would cry at the same time.
Oh,
y luego they would stop, and then it was going to be okay. Y así estaban. And so then at one point they were just all crying. So the news was all over now. The story was all over the news now. And parents were piling up and trying to get information from the police, but there was no word. Nobody. Okay, so if they were kidnapped, then had anybody asked for a ransom? And it was their anything
And then
going
even,
on.
I bet you they were like, who kidnaps a bus full of children? And what do they want with a bus full of children?
A bus full of children.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the children and Ed had been in the hole for 12 hours at this point. And the food was gone. The little peanut butter, the cereal, whatever, it was gone. And the children started to get restless. So one of the boys, he started acting crazy. Well, not crazy, but he started acting up. So he was kicking the blocks and the rocks that were holding up the beams to this place inside, Estela. So every time that he would kick it, this started to come down on top of them. So the dirt se empezaba a meter because this was only holding up by like a few beams.
Yeah.
So then the kids were crying because they're like,
scared.
They're scared. Now this kid acting up.
¿Lo amarraron?
No, I don't know what they did. Pero they were like...
Somebody, I don't want to say tackled him, but somebody...
Tackled him?
Yeah,
I mean, And so then all of a sudden...
And I understand that he must have been scared and just like, like, what the fuck is gonna... I understand him. Obviously, these are kids.
So they started... The ceiling of the trailer started to cave in. And the kids now were screaming because they're like, okay, we're about to really die.
Yeah.
So this is when they started to realize they were not going home. So the children decided, and Ed... I keep saying that because, it wasn't just the children, it was Ed too, that they were not going down without a fight. They were like, okay, if we're going to die, we're going to die, So the older children, the ones that were older, started to stack up the mattresses right underneath the manhole. So then they would put all the mattresses right. And so they tried as high as they could. And then they would stand up children. So uno se paraba arriba del otro así. And then they would hold them on their shoulders so that everybody could get a chance to try to push up the manhole.
Yeah.
So by pushing it up, the cover, to hopefully they can get in. Now, Michael said that he was giving it his all. Like, he's like, I was trying my best. And all the other the children were like chanting for him. Like, you can do it, And then all of a sudden someone said, it moved. So he was able to actually move something, right? Well, they were far from free, Estela.
Pues sí, güey. Pues me dijiste they were 12 feet into the ground.
Yes, güey. Pero guess what? These motherfucker kidnappers had put truck batteries and dirt on top of the cover. So on top of that, they had also put a wooden box around the dirt and around.
God damn.
Yeah. And it wasn't big enough for anybody to be able to stand up.
Right.
So I actually took a picture of it because there's pictures.
Wait, before we begin, this has like a happy ending, right?
You could say.
Okay. I just don't want any kids to die. Yeah? I mean...
So apparently, from what I was understanding, was this box around here. So this is where they're at. They're putting up They're putting up the manhole cover, which is right here.
Right.
They had put two big, like, camion, I guess, sized fucking batteries.
I know. It looked from where you're showing me. It looks like suitcases, but I know. Yeah.
And then
the dirt.
Dirt, and then a box.
Yeah.
So now they're pushing against
all of that
to get back up. So all of a sudden, Michael was able to move the man cover, and Ed actually was able to help him. Like, there was only, I believe that there was like a half of a foot, like 6-inch where he could get through. And he's like, so what they did was they started letting the dirt fall into the hole.
Right. To move it out the way. Right.
So then he said that they started doing that. And then what the other kids were doing, which I thought was really smart for these kids, they started taking out the springs of the mattresses to use that also to kind of get, like, de allí mismo sacaban wood también del mattress so that they can poke para picarle.
Sí.
So they gave this to Michael. And so Michael said that all he did was that he was just like pounding until he hit the top of the box. And then he said all of a sudden he just felt air come through. And then, like, it wasn't sunlight, pero que le entró light. Something.
Yeah.
And so then that's when he's like, okay, we got through. But now they're like, okay, if we leave, what's out there?
Yeah, or who's out there,
right? Yeah. So he said that they were very scared, but Michael went back inside to help take out the rest of the kids.
So Michael did manage to climb out.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he came back.
Are you looking for insights on civil society, democracy and resilience in Central and Eastern Europe? Check out the Resilience podcast series, a 6-part series exploring the challenges facing civic organizations today. Listen now.
Yeah, so he came. Well, he didn't come back. All he did was this is the actual hole.
Okay.
And all he did was from here. So this is all that was covering. So
Right.
all he did that was from here.
And then just start pulling
kids up. Yeah. Him and Ed.
And Ed. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And so now, like I said, they were at first scared, not sure what was going to happen or what they were going to see.
But it was going to be better than being down there and waiting for something to come at them.
Michael said he looked outside and all that he could see was just desert. He's like, we were in the hills. I don't know where we were at. He's like, I didn't even know if we were still in California.
Right.
We didn't know anything. Now, the children that were in the hole now were picking up the little kids to try to get them out. So they started helping each other. And once they were all out, they all stayed together and like kind of ran across, like in a little like huddle. And they all huddled together. They called themselves like little field mice, para correr, porque they didn't know if they were like out in the open or what it was. So it was around 8 p.m. at that moment. And they had, like I said, had been in there for a whole 16 hours. When they moved around, one of the girls says that she saw nothing but like conveyor belts and like construction,
industrial
and excavators, and when they were running, they ran into a construction worker with a hard hat.
Yeah.
And so then she said that they came up to him and they were like, "What are you guys doing out here?"
Yeah.
So the construction worker that they thought that they were trespassing.
Yeah.
And so the construction worker had called the security on them.
Oh, good.
But then when Ed came, Ed was like, "Hey, no, we are not construction. We were abducted or whatever." So Ed and Michael walked to the nearby guard's shack to talk to them, and the security guard was like, "Okay." And then that's when they called the Alameda County Sheriff's Department. The kidnappers had buried the children and Ed in a rock quarry. So a rock quarry, which I had no idea what it was, but it's just a mine.
Oh, okay.
And in Livermore, California, roughly 100 miles away from Chowchilla.
Okay.
So once they were alerted, the police arrived and took the children back to on a bus. And they're like, we went back on a bus.
Like, I never want to see another fucking bus in my life.
And they were all put in the Alameda County jail bus. And so the kids were like, what is going on? Like, they were now in jail.
Yeah.
So they took them to the San Rita Rehab, which is like the jail that's there, the local jail. And they were put in rooms. One of the girls said that it looked like classrooms, and they brought them apples and soda. Mm-hmm. And then from there, they took their clothes for evidence. Some of them were wearing bathing suits.
Pues sí, I mean, they had just come from the pool.
And then some of them, like I see, a lot of the pictures, you can actually look it up. This is all...
We'll post them.
Yeah. And a lot of the little kids were like, some of them were smiling. Some of them were like cheesing and stuff because they're little.
Kids.
Like, what do they know?
Or maybe they were like happy to be found. Be like, does this mean I'm finally going home and see my parents?
Yeah. So they all wore jumpsuits, and then from the jail. And then it was funny because the girls would walk around and say, "Look, I can fly," because they were so long on them because they're little. Now, after 4 hours of questioning, they were finally taken home by a Greyhound bus. Another bus. And they got home around 4 a.m. When they got there, their parents were waiting, but along with a lot of people, like a lot of like news reporters, cameras. I mean, and it was very overwhelming for the children. They weren't able to kind of grasp and kind of their parents weren't able to kind of like take care of them because they got there and everybody was just like in their faces, taking pictures and stuff like that. And that was their 36 hours of trauma that they had gone through, right?
Oh my gosh.
Now, I did see a few interviews on some of the parents, and they had no idea what the children had gone through, Estela.
Yeah, they don't know.
Like, they were like, we don't know
if something they did something.
Will this be the same? Will they ever be the same?
Right.
Will they be able to get or
move past
who went through what, right?
Yeah.
So most of the children would have terrible nightmares. Most of them were diagnosed with PTSD.
Mm-hmm, I bet.
And it was just horrible panic and anxiety. I guess the older kids got it a little bit worse than the younger kids because the younger kids were able to kind of like...
What is going on?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? But yeah, when you're older and you can actually grasp the reality of the situation, then you're like, oh, fuck. Like,
one of the children I saw, this was one of the interviews that I saw, and he said that when he got there and he saw his mom, he said he was so young. He was, I think, 6, And so then they said when he got to his mom carried him. And he said, "Hi, Mom." And he fell asleep.
Oh.
Like, that's how exhausting
he was.
Yeah. So days after, the police did dig out the trailer where the 26 children and Ed had been buried alive. And the police, they wanted to investigate how they got in there and how did they get this big ass moving. It was a moving trailer, Stella, that they had put in there. So who the fuck just goes and makes a big ass hole and puts a moving trailer in there?
For kids. For a bus.
For a bus.
Of children.
Children.
And Mr. Ed.
And Mr. Ed. Now, this had to be somebody that had a key to the mine, or maybe that they
knew
they could get around through security, or I mean, because someone needed to let them in. You can't just walk into like a mine like this. This is somebody's property, right? So in order to have access to bury the trailer and could not be detected, because now when you're looking back at it, this is kind of not easy. Because if you think about it, the logical thing that would happen would be someone that either knew the owner or was the owner of the property, where they can just go and make a big ass
hole,
12-foot hole, you know, or whatever it was, to be with time. And this took time. Time. The only person that they could think that could do something like that was the owner of the quarries or the mine's son.
Okay.
Now, the reason that they're saying that is because he was already kind of iffy with the law. Now, there was cameras around there, and the security had said that he had to get rid of 3 guys that were back there trying to dig something.
Oh, okay.
A few months before that the kidnapping happened. And whenever they asked the security man who was it, and one of them was the owner's son, which is 24-year-old Frederick Newhall Woods.
Okay.
24. The son of the owner.
Okay.
Police reviewed security cameras, like I said, and it was confirmed that the 3 young men had been digging holes months before the kidnapping.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fred did have a criminal record, they kind of wanted to look a little bit into him and what he did. 2 years before this, he had been charged with grand theft auto, and he was arrested. Now, who was he arrested with? His friend and his used car business partner, James, and his younger brother, Richard Schoenfeld. So 3 of them were actually, you know what, Estela? The 3 of them were wealthy families. All 3 of them were.
Were they bored?
All 3 of them
mamadas?
were. So let me tell you. First of all, Fred, the owner of the
owner's son of the quarry.
Look, the only thing I know is that at that time,
and he was 24, right?
He was 24. He was the son of his father. I think he was the 3rd or whatever, Fred Woods, and his mom was actually had money too. She comes from money too, but it was only him and his sister. And his sister was put in an institution because she had Down syndrome.
Yeah, sadly. That was pretty fucked. They used to do that shit back then.
Whatever. Yeah. And apparently, the father of him, he was making $80 million a year.
And this is back in the 70s,
which is like $300 million now. I'm not talking about 1,000 million.
No, sí, puta. Y lo este güey que.
Yeah.
What are you doing, brother?
Exactly.
What is wrong with you?
And so the other 2 guys, I think they were también
they came from money.
They came from money, and they lived in a very nice
affluent area,
like suburbs of San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And since they had been caught 2 years before, and they were charged with the grand theft auto because they had money, and because they were,
of course.
They escaped. All 3 of them escaped with just a fine and probation. Mm-hmm. So investigators served a warrant in the Woods home, and they were found. That's where they found one of the shotguns that was used during the kidnapping, documents that incriminated Woods. Now, I'm going to tell y'all what they found, because these people, they found something called a plan.
A plan. That's what they call it.
The paper said a plan. And a plan that was titled The Plan. Wow. And now this went step by step on how they would take the bus and what they would do. Like, hicieron notitas al lado, and what they would do if they would get caught or if anything went wrong. Mm-hmm. Not only that, Estela, pero they also wrote a note saying, we need to burn this before we get caught. And apparently they didn't burn it because they still had the paper.
Yeah, they still had the plan.
The plan. Now, along with the ransom note, and they said that they wanted $2.5 million. But later on, they reported that they were going to ask for $5 million. 2.5 era al principio, pero luego they were going to ask for 5 to the state of California.
Okay.
The kidnappers were now not able to deliver the ransom note. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when they tried to call Chowchilla Police Department, since everybody was calling in, all of the tips, wanting to know. There was like so many tips coming in, like random ass shit. They were talking about that the kids had been taken by the son of Sam and shit.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, like they were like...
Yeah, there's always something like that.
Yeah, like people were saying que eran pinches aliens y la madre que they had been abducted and all this stuff. So all these people that were calling about the abduction of aliens...
They were all trying to call...
At the same time that they were trying to put in the ransom. Okay?
It's not funny.
The police lines were so saturated that they couldn't get through.
Right.
And they were jammed. So they got tired and they decided to take a nap. But by the time that they woke up, they saw on the news that the kids had escaped. Yeah.
And I know you're probably going to explain, but especially Fred.
Yes.
And I know it's not your money. I understand it's your dad's money or your parents' money. But if your dad is making $80 million a year, what is...
Mind you, that's not even his trust fund, because his trust fund was going to be even more, because it was only him and his sister, and his sister was in an institution, sadly, right? Pero what's $5 million to you, honestly? I don't know.
A lo mejor para los otros.
So I heard that. I think that Woods was like, he was more of he wanted to make a movie and like all this stuff. Apparently he had gotten most of this ideas from a movie that he had watched. So even before, like, he was trying to sell his story. Like, I don't know if he wanted to be famous, and I mean, maybe that's why, or I don't know. I think he was a psychopath, honestly, pero that's not me nor here nor there.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not a mental health professional, pero it sounds to me like he's just a little bored brat.
Yeah. So
all three of them.
Arrest warrants were issued, and Richard turned himself in because Richard was a younger brother than James. So James and Fred were the ones mostly like the leaders.
Masterminds.
Yeah. So Richard said, I'm going to turn myself in. And James...
was Richard, I'm not sure if this is the case, but he's just going along with the plan because the other ones kind of were like, well, we're going to do this and you're going to go with us. And
I think he kind of got drug into it, yeah. But Fred and James didn't run. They ran, but they didn't run very well because...
or far.
Because James and Fred were caught trying to go into Canada. So the Royal Canadian Police caught them immediately. One was in New Jersey trying to get somewhere, and the other one was in like Washington. So at the same time, I think Fred was trying to write letters to his friend telling him about how he wanted to sell him his story. So then that's what I'm saying. And then they caught his ass because he was writing the letters in the name of James. Not
the smartest tool in the shed.
So apparently the reason that they came up with this plan to kidnap so many children is because James told the police that even though their family was wealthy, he and Fred had a lot of debt.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, I know it's not technically their money, it's their parents' money. And I know a trust, you only get access like at a certain age or something like that.
Yeah, and if you were like Grand Theft Auto, like, what do you do? I don't know, girl.
No, and then also, you might have been able to get away with it before, but you were, like you said, it was Grand Theft Auto. Not that that's any better, but that compared that to an abduction of 26 children and Mr. Ed.
Yeah.
That's on a way larger scale that not even your parents' money is going to be able to get you away let you get away with
that. Yeah. So he said that they needed multiple victims to get multiple millions. And they chose children because they are precious, and the state would be willing to pay ransom for them, and the kids weren't going to fight back.
Oh.
So Woods and the Schoenfelds pleaded guilty to 27 counts of kidnapping for ransom and robbery. Now, they did not want to plead guilty to the 8 counts of bodily harm that they were getting charged for. So 8 children, the ones that I was telling you that they were the older ones, they were trying to get them to pay for the bodily harm, because that would put them in jail for life without parole.
As they should, honestly. Don't be abducting anybody, especially not 26 children.
Exactly.
And Mr. Ed.
16 months later, some of the children had to face the kidnappers to explain how they did get hurt while being buried alive.
Yes.
On March the 4th of 1977, the 3 men were found guilty of 8 counts of kidnapping with bodily harm. The children said they finally felt safe. But you would think that this is the end of it. But unfortunately, it is not. 5 weeks later, The children and Mr. Ed tried to go back to normal. They even took them. They had an Ed and the Children's Day. They took them to Disneyland.
Oh.
But the survivors struggled, Estela.
No, dude.
They struggled so much to get back to normal, and they tried hard to forget the horrible moments that they lived, but they couldn't. I think that because they were children, a lot of people would see them laughing, and they're like, "Oh, it's okay," because they're laughing.
Or they're gonna forget
They're gonna forget their kids, but it was not like that. Most of the survivors were either alcoholics.
Oh, that's so sad.
They had bad PTSD, and not only that, but had panic attacks, anxiety attacks. They could not just get over
It's because, I mean, thankfully everything turned out well, and the kidnappers were just doing it because they wanted money, not to actually harm them. But in those 36 hours that, from where they were taken to where they were on the field.
Imagine where your mind goes.
Exactly.
Imagine their mind. So,
like, I'm never going to see my parents again. I'm never going to see my siblings. I'm going to die.
Yeah, I'm going to die.
You being transported in the pitch black for X amount of hours, not knowing where we're going, if we're about to get killed. I just can't even imagine going through that, and then just being expected to just be okay.
Yeah, and now you're in Disneyland and feel better.
Yeah,
So 4 years after this, after the kidnappings, there was a critical change in the charges. The kidnappers' lawyers appealed the bodily harm. Why do I keep saying farm? The bodily harm, and the appeal court overturned the ruling, saying that they did acknowledge that it was a horrific nature of the crime, but that the injuries that were suffered did not raise to the level of bodily harm.
But I guess more so then, mental health wasn't as prevalent as it is now.
Back in the day,
it was in the 70s.
That's correct. Now, this means that Wood and the Schoenfelds were resentenced to life with a possibility of parole. Now, this meant that they would get a parole hearing every 2 years.
Oh, fuck.
6 years after the kidnapping, the parole hearings began, and the survivors had to go through another hearing, and it would bring up all of the trauma again. Estela, within the time that they actually went back to another parole hearing, they had attended to amounting of 60 parole hearings. And every time
they had to show up. It was every 2 years.
Every 2 years. So they had to be in the same room again with the kidnappers, one time after another. And this was not healthy for any of the survivors. So survivor Jody Heffington, she went to nearly all of them.
I mean, I understand. She was 10.
She was 10. And she said that she would go every 3 years, 3 times. Because she had to go to one, and then another, and then another. And Jody and the other survivors watched how Richard Schoenfeld was the first one to be released in June 20th of 2012.
Damn.
3 years later, James was released.
Damn.
Now, those two had not been in trouble yet. Since then, they were good to go. Now, Fred, on the other hand, he was always breaking the prison rules. They always caught him with cell phones and porn and shit. Like, he was always doing whatever. So in 2018, Fred Woods presented his 15th parole hearing. 15. And Jody was there. And Jody explained how Woods had not only taken her life, but also taken her family's life. And they just could never be the same.
No.
She's like, I took away from my family, from my friends. I could not be a good mother. I could not be a good aunt. I could not be a good sister because of what you did. You did not just take me away from my parents for 36 hours. No, you took a lot more from me.
Like, he took her future.
Yeah. After that hearing, Woods was denied parole again.
Good.
So Jody, she never left the town or the area, but she was never able to find peace, Estela. Her peace of mind was never there. And she did pass away at the age of 55 in 2021.
Oh my gosh, she was so young.
Yes. She actually, at one point I heard something that she had her own salon or something like that. So she tried to move on.
And I'm sure there were pockets of periods of time where she felt like she was okay, pero...
So 14 months after Jody's death, Fred Woods went before parole board for the 18th time.
And this time she wasn't there.
He was granted parole in March of 2022 and was released later that year in 2022.
At what age? He's old as fuck now, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think he was like, yeah.
He was 24 then.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And due to the 1976 kidnapping of the Chowchilla is often referenced in true crime history as the site of one of the largest mass abductions on record for the U.S.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
And this is the story or the case of the Chowchilla kidnappings. I mean, I just feel like the kids never got the justice that they needed. I feel like they just never were able, like you said, the mental toll that it took against them. A lot of, like, one of the moms would say her kid would come screaming and
like
just
nightmares.
asleep. And she would just scream and scream. And then she would ask them, are you okay? And she would say, I was dreaming that they had me and my friends in a hole and they would shoot us, you know, like, I mean, because they didn't know what was coming.
Yeah.
And it's really sad that
maybe just a lot of them became scared of the dark from then on, you know?
One of them said that she's in her 50s now or a little bit older. And she's like, I can't sleep without a nightlight still.
Yeah, poor thing.
And you know, I feel like they did not get the justice that they deserved. And the fact that all three of these people are now maybe not living, but out is not fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, let us know what you think. If you would like to follow us on Instagram, you can at
Cafecito and Crime Pod. And if you would like to download our episodes, leave us a review and rate us. We would really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening, and we will talk to you in the next one. Bye.